she's like, otherwise I cannot have you as a patient. But that's what I needed.
Yeah.
I needed somebody that was more of a hard ass than me.
Right.
Especially in that very gross time where I was probably very hyper manipulative. I was probably angry. I was probably hurt. Like, I don't even remember the thickness of all of the feelings because it was just so messy.
Right.
So I don't want anybody to go through that.
Right.
And I don't want their families to go through it.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, I was like always so agreeable as it should be. I didn't like getting in trouble. I did not like being disciplined. So I always tried to be like obedient. So whereas like in my mind, these people of authority, like let's say if it was me, like back then before I started doing the work, if they were like, you are this, I would just be like, okay. Like there would not be a pushback. In fact, like I feel like I believed what you told me about me. Like I believe that more than how I believed in myself or what it was. You would tell me who I was. I didn't know exactly who I was. So in discovering that, it's been, as I'm continuing to do so, it's pretty enlightening because in so many ways, I literally felt like and always did like what I was told.
Yeah.
I mean, I even think about like college. I mean, my first college, like, I mean, I'm so grateful that I went to an HBCU, but at first I didn't even know what that was. But like in 8th grade, like my mom was like, you're going to go to an HBCU.
I don't know what that is.
Historically Black University.
Oh.
I went to Southern University. But so in my mind, I was like, that's what I'm doing. Like, I mean, it took really me getting into college like my freshman year, and I had already been diagnosed with ADHD, but I was never medicated. Like my mom was like, she doesn't need, I mean, literally, she was born in 57, you know, I was born in 86, y'all. Things were different. I mean, you know, and we were like the medicated crew, but not quite. But if the parents were down, they were down, right? So when I got to college, my freshman year, I was like really struggling. Like I had never struggled like this before. I'd never made grades like this before. I'd never felt so behind.
Same.
And I finally go and see like the counselor, and they send me, and I'm finally medicated, right? Learning to, I guess, relearning that like what I want, what I think, like my own desires, like literally has been incredible work, right? Sometimes difficult because sometimes I'll just be like, well, who do you want me to be? Where do you want me to be?
Right.
It was so much, I don't even want to say easier because I always felt like a wallflower. Like I felt like I was watching my life, not quite living it. But now that I'm like, actually all the decisions are on you. What do you want to do? It's a little scary, but also really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I relate with it a lot. So my relationship with authority was confusing. I had a huge issue with authority when I recognized that the authoritarian was not something to be respected.
Right.
And I had a huge automatic distrust for all authority at that level. But I don't know, maybe I'm just like this old lady soul from Jump Off, but
I wish I was more.
People treated me well, I treated them well. It was that simple. My grandpa
mistreat me, and I was like, I'm going to just be obedient and kind.
That's why I was really little. But I mean, it became a survival mechanism that, I mean, you know, I was a little girl having your dad get in your face and scream at you like you're a little bitch just like your mother, and, you know, having your mom like just say all kinds of horrible things and not even know she's doing it because she's drunk. I mean, like you eventually dig your heels in with those people because if you don't, you will die.
Yeah.
You know, like I started having my first suicidal ideas around 8 or 9 years old, you know, and it was really one of those things. You know, I would let friends tell me who I was.
That too.
Yeah. But really at the end of it, I mean, my grandfather was a big influence on me, and most of my life it was very positive. He programmed it into me that I was intelligent, that I was going to do big things, that I was a helper. You know what I mean? That I had good intention. As I got older, I recognized that was his mean, the different one that I was used to of controlling me.
Right.
When I started to stray in any way outside of what he thought he had programmed me to be, he wasn't so nice about it. You know, it was really disappointing to see the evolution of that character that was so important to me and my stability when I was young. But thank God, I don't know. There's something deeply feisty and bitchy in me, and I'm saying bitchy in a good way in the sense, like, you know, I knew that when I graduated high school, I wanted to be in the top 10 people, and I knew that I was going to go to college and pursue something medical. And even to the point where, you know, I had to get out of a very abusive relationship and entering nursing school, you know, I almost fell apart. And that's when I did start going back to therapy and did have to get on medication and things like that. But, you know, damn it, I was going to hit my goal. You know? And I did graduate nursing school, and I did let people tell me who I was, but I also didn't, you know? So I feel like I'm a little teeter-totter there. And it was as simple as that, you know? I'll still jump in the middle of a crisis and save something or somebody or whatever, you know, that I'm still that person. But
that wasn't it.
No.
Understanding, like for me, like I don't even know if an episode was talked about, like where like your life as you knew it completely changes, and it's no longer a life that you recognize. You're no longer even the person that you recognized before. And I feel like at that time it was like a big transition time and shedding time, but also in so many other ways, a fallback time to like, okay, well, it may be hard. It's so stressful. I'm so anxious, but well, I know what it's like to be stressed out and to be anxious. I guess it's pretty comfortable, like, you know, in here. Which is why, like, I'm stepping out of that, hence this podcast. So you guys just know I have been a recurring guest on podcasts. This is my first one. So it's a work in progress, and I will promise each episode I will work personally to make it better. So just let me know. I feel like we dug a lot. Do you feel a little lighter? Do you feel like any baggage was dropped off?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm scared I said too much. But
I feel like, did you tell the truth?
Oh God. I'm not a liar. I cannot tell a lie. I'm George Washington, I guess.
Was it relevant?
Sure. Of course.
Was it timely?
Oh gosh. Are we doing smart goals here?
Yes. And was it kind?
I hope it was kind.
Those are my favorite called the gates of speech. So, I really appreciate you coming on as a guest.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope you come back. I guess final things would be, what are your final thoughts? Anything you want to give to the listeners? Words of wisdom, words to go to bed to, or just, whatever.
I think it's just important for everybody to know that no matter what they're going through, or if they're not going through anything at all, wherever it is in life, you're not alone. And there is always somebody that will respond if you do need help. And if you don't find yourself needing help, maybe you can find it in your heart to be the person that responds to somebody who does.
I like that. I guess my final thought is we all have baggage. It looks differently, but the one that I think that we should drop is that ugly shame monster. So I guess we're working on that, right? It's just a heavy load.
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to work on. But as always, thank you for tuning into Baggage Claim. Feel free to reach out to us again at baggageclaimpodcast@gmail.com. On YouTube, we're a Baggage Claim Podcast, and on TikTok, a Baggage Claim Podcast. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you.